Which September games are you most looking forward to? Alex or Alan? Sorry. You know what, Colin? For video purposes, I'm just going to read it over again. If you're watching the live show, deal with it. Thank you for watching, though. Alan hit us up from Independence, Missouri. He said, which September games are you most looking forward to? Well, Alan, thank you. Nailed it. I've got way too many. I've got an irresponsible amount of September games listed in front of me. So I'm just going to kind of skim through them, or else this would be its own show. Week 1, we don't even have to wait until Saturday. Week 1 on a Thursday night, it's probably a game that will make us change our start time for the show that night. West Virginia is at Pitt. That's the backyard brawl cranking up again for the first time in over a decade. You've also got Notre Dame as a 2-touchdown dog on the road at Ohio State. That's Saturday. Same Saturday, earlier in the day, you've got Oregon versus Georgia. But also, don't sleep on Cincinnati going to Arkansas. And then Sunday night, that standalone Sunday night game. Remember, the schedule's kind of different in week 1. Florida State versus LSU. I'm so glad those teams are playing when they're playing, because it's highly likely that neither is going to be in the playoff mix. Kind of like when FSU and Notre Dame opened the season, like last year, year before last, and they played that classic. I think they went to overtime. Florida State ended up not being a good team, but because they were undefeated at that point, they were unblemished, everyone cared about that outcome, and it was a great game. We could get the same thing with FSU, LSU. But then when we go to week 2, see, I look at week 1, I think that's a pretty fat schedule. Week 2, you're going to get a lot of Alabama at Texas shoved in your face, which you should. That's the biggest game that week. But outside of that, you don't have the deepest schedule in week 2. However, I have sentimental value on that Iowa State at Iowa game. And that's the game we went to last year. We took the Renaissance Tour to Ames, Iowa. Well, now they go to Kinnick. And I don't think people are going to expect much of anything from Iowa State this year, so maybe that's the year that they end up pulling that thing out. Also, Kentucky is at Florida. And I'm circling that game, although nationally you may not, because that is one of the first big tests for Billy Napier at home, but also Will Levis, quarterback for Kentucky. You're going to hear a lot of talk about him. And the point is, I'm fine with the talk if it's going to eventually be borne out on the field. Well, these are the kind of games. We're going to see Will Levis and that Kentucky offense go into the swamp, and that's going to be a night game, and you're going to have it to do, okay? You're going to be, here's why I feel bad. Because a lot of times I'm not going to say we because I'm not doing it. Some people out in the college football media sphere are putting some unreasonable expectations on Will Levis right now in terms of mock drafts and stuff, and I choose to just let him play, let's see what he is. But the unfortunate part is that's what people are going to say. That matchup is going to be potential first-round draft pick Will Levis is coming into the swamp. It's irresponsible to me. That's not the way we choose to cover the sport here, but that is the way some folks will cover it. Anyway, regardless of what people are saying, that's one of his chances to really shine, Will Levis. That's Kentucky's shot to really announce their arrival on the 2022 SEC East scene. A lot of people think they're going to be good. They can validate it that night. Week 3, it gets really, really juicy. We've got Oklahoma at Nebraska. Big noon kickoff, baby. Love it. If no one else does, I love it. That's 11 a.m. Eastern time. Big question. If any of you know the answer, let me know. Will both teams be undefeated when they play that one? If they are, you can consider me there. So that's the first thing. The second thing is there are some other good out-of-conference games that day. For instance, did you know that Penn State goes to Auburn that day? And that's a 3:30 game. I think that's the CBS game of the week. So we got the Nittany Lions traveling down south, the return trip. Auburn went up there last year. Brigham Young goes to Oregon on that day. And that's one of those big early season tests for the Ducks. Not a conference game, but it's a big game. We've also got Miami, Texas A&M at 8 o'clock, prime time kickoff in Kyle Field in College Station. Oh, all those are out-of-conference games. OU, Nebraska, Penn State, Auburn, Brigham Young, Oregon, Miami, A&M. That is what a Week 3 college football schedule should look like. And as I'm scanning, do you notice what's absent? No neutral site. All of them are on campus. God bless college football. Week 4, we're not even out of September. Told you I had a lot of them. Week 4, you give me all these. Wisconsin at Ohio State. Big conference game, one of the biggest games of the year on Ohio State's schedule. We get Florida at Tennessee. Second time Florida's already appeared here. And then we start getting into some of those bigger games in the ACC on this Saturday, too. Clemson goes to Wake Forest. Remember that stretch we talked about last week? Clemson's got games against Wake Forest and NC State and Boston College back-to-back-to-back. They're going to go 3-0 there? We'll see. Also, Arkansas versus Texas A&M out in Arlington is that day. Now, you know my proclivity to completely turn my head towards those neutral site games, but I can't turn my head to A&M and Arkansas. We went to that game last year. Who knows where we'll be? We're way too far out to... I can't even tell you what the tour is going to be named yet. I certainly can't tell you where we're going to be in week 4. But look, think about this. We just gave you all those games. I don't know how long I just talked. That's just September, guys. We got October and November to go. That's just September. So in case you can't tell, we're kind of ready for the season to get here around here.